really wanted to commend all the organizations working with disabilities and organizations of people with disabilities. A very big warm welcome to all of you again. And as you have heard from Dr. Stephen Jackson and Lars, that the primary purpose of us all congregating here this very evening is to reaffirm our commitments towards disability inclusion in education, in employment, in public services, and society at large. We recently celebrated the 20 years of diversity and inclusion in Kenya, the stories of triumphs and overcoming barriers by National Council for Persons with Disability. And I run the risk of repeating myself to many of you who are present in this very evening, who were present at the 20 years of the celebration recently. There couldn't have been a more opportune moment to have launched the Disability Inclusion Status Report, which was just presented to the partners. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, what do the following people have in common? Franklin D. Roosevelt, David Beckham, Mozart, Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking, Tom Cruise, and Alexander Graham Bell. I'm sure you know the answer. All of them had a disability and went on to become the world's leader. Roosevelt governed America for 4 terms from a wheelchair. Beckham has football stadiums filled with people and fans, and Michelangelo's paintings inspired us for centuries together. And we all know, imagine the life today without the telephone or electricity. A gift from Bell and Edison, both children with learning disabilities, have more to be grateful for. And we rightly recognize these people for their abilities and not for the disabilities, has been said umpteen times. And a child's education begins with modest steps. So is a girl recognizes and writes her name, a boy reads a story, sums are studied, spellings are mastered, and condolences soars. Small steps, but they are very significant and important steps on the path to independence for children. Steps that are still out of bounds for far too many children. And what a terrible justice we do to them and to ourselves. Because when children with disabilities are denied a quality education, it is not only a waste of their talent, it is a huge loss for other students and for the humanity whose lives could have been enriched by an inclusive classroom. Globally, we know that 15% of the world's population, at least 1 billion people, have some form of disability, and as Lars mentioned, $7.7 billion that has been lost at the cost of inaction. And as UN and UNICEF, we've always worked through partnership. Partnerships are the heart of how we deliver results for children. They're central to delivering programs with equity, to increasing our use of cost-effective and efficient innovation, and also to responding rapidly and effectively to emergencies. There is a growing recognition that many of the world's most complex problems are far too complex and not in the bounds of one sector to be able to respond to this. Towards this, we recognize the private sector has a key role to play in driving legislative and social progress. In the last decade, the Kenya inclusive business practices have led to increased economic participation from marginalized groups, contributing to the overall economic growth. We know there's still a lot to be done. And by promoting inclusivity, businesses help bridge social divides, fostering a sense of community and shared purpose. This is evident in initiatives that support local communities and create opportunities. The statistics, which has already been elucidated so well by Lars, according to 2019 census, 2.2% of Kenyans, which is about 0.9 million people, live with some form of disability. And a recent study which was done by UNICEF in 2022, a support needs assessment, pretty much highlights that a quarter of children 2 to 17 years have a disability, do not have a disability card, making it difficult for them to access and their families to benefit from important services. The assessment also showed that 92% of the caregivers indicated that they require financial support to care for persons with disabilities. We know that the African Disability Forum has been a leading advocate for the recognition and respect of the rights of persons with disability. Their tireless efforts, along with recent conference focused on inclusive development, have significantly advanced the disability inclusion agenda. I would like to elucidate some example from the private sector present here in Kenya, the representatives of whom we see here in this very hall today. Safaricom is an example of a company with entrepreneurship ventures. I think they all deserve a makofi. And I'm sure many more unsung such companies, small and medium enterprises, are making efforts to strive for inclusive workspaces. UNICEF, together with UNICEF Family, has been a strong advocate for child-focused disability, diversity, and gender-inclusive system. We are working towards providing assistive technology and promoting inclusive education in Kenya. Through the internet connectivity in the back of the beyond, in the remote school, with the support of ECHO and the EU. In addition, we've also provided assistance in developing policies and legal framework. Capacity development of organization of persons with disability has been another area of focus. We've trained 25 OPDs and placed them in established public finance regional hubs. As we speak, we have collaborated with over 30 private sector entities in crowdfunding and impact investment opportunities to support children with disability. And as Lars mentioned, as the private sector are going to commit for 8% of the workforce, we are a little behind them. We are committing to enhancing its inclusive recruitment process to progressively achieve a 7% workforce representation by 2030. And I think we should up our game by 1 more % and to be aligned with the private sector commitment. Additionally, UNICEF Kenya aims to allocate at least 10% of its overall expenditure, including program and operations, to disability inclusion by 2030. Despite these gains, we must address ongoing challenges, as has been been highlighted by our previous speaker. Dr. Samuel Kabua, a distinguished disability rights advocate and scholar in Kenya, has often emphasized the importance of inclusion. And one of his notable quotes, which has been oft repeated, is disability movement is the collective voice of person with disability, and as the movement has kept emphasizing, nothing about us without us, nothing about us without us. The call to action becomes very, very important. Partnerships with the private sector, government, and the civil society are crucial in creating an inclusive environment. As we go back from here, we need to see that disability inclusive report, how do we execute it, how we roll out, what the timeline should be, and what should be front-loading, and how we should be collaborating with other partners in ensuring that we stand committed to and translate this very commitments into action. Thank you so much. Asante Nisana.
Thank you. Let's appreciate her since she goes to the seat. Thank you for your remarks. Indeed, partnerships, collaboration is one of the key things that we are mentioning again and again in terms of disability inclusion. And thank you so much for your behalf. And I'm looking at everyone, and you all are starting to look bored. Hi. Check on your neighbor. Say hi. Hi. All right. So in that light, I'd like to bring a bit of entertainment as you stretch, as you say hello. We have a band with us, Winnie and the team. I'm sure you guys are ready. Please entertain us, stretch us, let us dance a bit, and then we can proceed with our program. All right? Feel free to wake up and grab a drink quickly.
I'm in chains, you're in chains too. I wear uniforms and you wear uniforms too. I'm a prisoner Mr. Jailer. Oh, I have fears, you have fears too. I'll die, but yourself will die too. Life is beautiful, don't you think so too, Mr. Jailer? I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first to cast the stone, Mr. Jailer, Mr. Jailer man. You suppress every part of me. You oppress all my strategies. What you don't know, you're a victim too, Mr. Jailer. You don't care about my point of view. If I die, another will work for you. So you treat me like a modern slave, Mr. Jailer. I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first to cast the stone, Mr. Jailer, Mr. Jailer man. Marketplace, don't throw stones. Even if you do, you just might hate one of your own. Life is not about your policies all the time, so you better rearrange your philosophies and be good to your fellow man, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first to cast the Mr. Jailer. I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first to cast the stone, Mr. Jailer, Mr. Jailer man.
One more, please. Right?
saka saka tingama Yanga ina mobali nangai Pontala mokaba mama Tobalanga Totikisa bela belango ya mate Nikola yanga ina sheri Sokari litamba Mayebaki Saka saka tingama Yanga ina mobali nangai Pontala mokaba mama Balango ya bombanda te Nganga ya na yobi kongo ya mbanda te Oya ngainda ya Balango ya bombanda te
Amazing. A hand of appreciation to Winnie and the team band. They're incredible. It is nice to have persons with disabilities with great entertainment, showcasing great entertainment. Haven't you enjoyed? We've enjoyed, right? Please, let's get back to our seats as we conclude the program for tonight. As we continue, we've had the baseline reports, we've heard of the implementation strategy, and now we're moving swiftly to the call of commitment towards the next steps of inclusion and advancing the human rights for persons with disabilities. All right? Feel free to take a selfie, feel free to take a photo about the event, make some noise on social media, let the internet know what you are doing, of course, yeah, because this is what we are doing, which is great, towards disability agenda. At this point, I'd like to invite Mr. Munire Malhangu. Your name is a bit difficult for me. I'm sorry. Mr. Munire Malangu, the High Commissioner, South Africa, who will start our commitment remarks this evening. Please, let's put our hands together and invite him on stage. Let's invite him on stage. Amazing, amazing. Mr. Munire, please. The stage is yours. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coordinator in Kenya, Mr. Anthony Ngororano, UNDP resident representative in Kenya, Dr. Stephen Nilofa, UNICEF country representative in Kenya, President spokesperson, Honorable Mwaura Isaac, captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Good evening. As I've already said, Sanbonani in Zulu, South African language, and I've already said Haparizeno so that I cover everybody. Language, all of us, now we can settle. I am deeply honored to have been invited to say a few words tonight as we commemorate the International Day of Persons with Disability, which was celebrated on Tuesday, 3rd December 2024 to foster disability inclusion. Today also serves to launch the 2024 Disability Inclusive Report. I have noted that the theme for the occasion is championing disability to a better tomorrow, which resonates with this year UN theme for disability, open quote, amplifying the leadership of persons with disabilities for an inclusive and sustainable future. I therefore wish to express my profound gratitude to the organizers of this auspicious occasion, in particularly the UNDP and UNICEF, as well as all stakeholders involved in making this occasion a success. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we commemorate South Africa's 30th anniversary democracy and freedom. We do so with a realization that 30 years into our democracy, people with disability still face discrimination and exclusion as conditions for them remains far from ideal worldwide. Prior to 1994, programs for the people with disabilities were rooted in a system that deemed disability a personal misfortune, needing health and welfare approach to rectify the individual and their circumstances. For the democratic government, in the past 30 years, disability rights are a constitutional imperative enshrined in our Bill of Rights. Section 9 of the Constitution enshrines the right of persons with disabilities, prohibiting discrimination on disability and guaranteeing equality and human dignity, and disability inclusion into various laws have been prioritize. Ladies and gentlemen, we have therefore redoubled our efforts to ensure that we become a more inclusive society, especially towards persons with disabilities. In this regard, from 30 November to 30 December, as part of efforts to improve the quality of life for people with disabilities, South Africa commemorates Disability Rights Awareness Month, which is called DRAMA, every year. This year commemoration was held under the theme celebrating 30 years of democracy, creating a disability inclusive society for a better quality of life and protection of the rights of persons with disability, which also coincide with the International Day of Persons with Disability on the 3rd of November. Some of the objectives of DRAMA 2024 were therefore to unite South Africans with and without disabilities in pursuit of the goal of building a disability inclusive, barrier-free South Africa, where persons with disability can effectively contribute